All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank you for your patience. My name is Will Thompson. I'm the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of West Virginia. We're here today to announce the conclusion of a sentencing of a major gun trafficking case. Behind me, I have representatives from the ATF, including Special Agent in Charge Rob Maynard, who's going to be speaking after me in just a moment. We also have a couple representatives from the IRS, including Assistant Special Agent in Charge David Meisenheimer, who also will be speaking. We also have some representatives from my office, as well as the Beckley Police Department, who assisted in this case. This was an incredible case, an incredible amount of excellent police work. This was a case where over 140 firearms were bought and purchased in the Raleigh County area and then transferred to the Philadelphia, and including up to 50 of them were found at crime scenes in Philadelphia. I want to give a huge shout out to an ATF agent who did some incredible analysis on trying to figure out why guns that were being bought in Beckley, West Virginia were showing up at crime scenes in Philadelphia. I also want to give a shout out to the IRS criminal investigation. As far as I could determine, this might be the first time that this particular money laundering statute was used in a gun trafficking case, definitely in this district, maybe in the nation. I couldn't find any other ones where we've done this. There was a lot of good work went behind this, and today we had the two last sentencings in the case. The first one I'm going to talk about is a gentleman by the name of Shyheem Woodard-Smith. He goes also by the nickname of Peanut. He received 5 years. He was involved in the scheme. The one that the target of the investigation, the one who was basically the pinnacle of this gun trafficking money laundering scheme, was Bisheem Bosh Jones. Today he was sentenced to 25 years in federal prison. I think it's important to note that this was a case that wreaked havoc on two communities. Obviously Philadelphia, where these guns that were purchased were ending up in crime scenes, but it also brought havoc to our community here in Beckley. They were, through Mr. Jones and his cohorts, they were essentially taking advantage of people down on their luck and making them federal felons by having them lie and buy firearms for them. I think this is a priority type case for my office. This shows what can be done when you have good cooperation between the federal agencies and our state and local partners, as well as our office. I want to mention a couple of the other sentences that were received. There was a total of 19 that were convicted in this case. Mr. Jones actually did require a 5-day federal jury trial where he was convicted. The other 18 entered pleas of guilty. In addition to Jones and Woodard-Smith, there was 3 other defendants who carried out leadership roles in the conspiracy were convicted. Some of the other noteworthy sentences was Denise Johnson of Beckley was sentenced to 3 years and 10 months. Dante Webster of Beckley was sentenced to 2 years and 9 months. Derek Woodard, also known as D, of Philadelphia, was sentenced to 2 years. Terry Lawhorn of Fayetteville was sentenced to 2 years. Hassan Abdullah, also known as Son of Philadelphia, was sentenced to 18 months. Maurice Johnson of Mount Hope was sentenced to 1 year, and Brandon Lawson of Oak Hill was sentenced to 9 months in prison. Like I said, this was an incredible case. I'm going to give a lot of shout out to the ATF agent who sort of put this together, and then a bigger shout out to all the agencies that got together and worked and put this on, including the IRS criminal investigation. And the ATF continued cooperated. We had some help from the Raleigh County Sheriff's Office and the Beckley Police Department. I think a 25-year sentence on a gun trafficking case should send a message to this community. And it's real simple. If you have to lie to buy a firearm, you're committing a federal felony. I want to give a shout out to AUSA Steve Lowe, who handled the prosecution of this case from my office. She wouldn't stand up here, but also had another AUSA who was with my office at the time, Nagar Kordestani, who also was very instrumental in getting this case processed. I'd now like to introduce Assistant Special Agent in Charge Rob Maynard of the Louisville Division of the ATF.
Thanks, sir. Good afternoon. I'm Rob Maynard, the Assistant Special Agent in Charge of the ATF's West Virginia field offices. ATF has no greater mission than keeping firearms out of the hands of violent criminals, to apprehend those responsible for the shootings and homicides that plague our cities and threaten the safety of our communities. We accomplish our mission by using crime gun intelligence, information to identify those who are involved in violent crime and those supplying firearms to be used in acts of violence. Our goal is to stop criminal conduct before the firearms are funneled to places where they are used in crimes and causing the most harm. Today's sentencing concludes a joint investigation with the IRS that uncovered a network of individuals who were purchasing firearms from licensed gun dealers in and around Beckley, and then trafficking those firearms to a group of individuals in Philadelphia. This gun trafficking raid, led by Bisheem Jones, trafficked more than 140 firearms on the streets of Philadelphia, as 35 were recovered after being used in crimes including homicide, domestic violence, and drug trafficking. With Jones's sentence today of 25 years, a clear message is sent. ATF and our law enforcement partners will not stand by and allow criminals to put firearms in the hands of those who intend to harm others. Make no mistake, Bisheem Jones and his conspirators may not have pulled the trigger, but their actions contributed to violence. Lastly, I would like to say that today's sentencings would not have been possible without the assistance of U.S. Attorney Will Thompson and his team of experienced prosecutors, the IRS, as well as our local law enforcement partners in Raleigh County and Beckley PD. Together, we are committed to make our communities a safer place to work and live. Thank you.
Thank you, Agent Maynard. I'd now like to introduce Assistant Special Agent in Charge David Meisenheimer from the Internal Revenue Service Criminal Investigation, and they were very instrumental in making this a money laundering charge as well.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm David Meisenheimer. I'm an Assistant Special Agent in Charge with the Internal Revenue Service, our Washington, D.C. field office, which covers the West Virginia office here. I'm honored to stand up here with our law enforcement officers to announce today's sentence. It just highlights the great work and important work that is done by our collective agencies, the ATF, our local law enforcement partners, and the U.S. Attorney's Office. Some of you may be wondering why IRS is involved in a gun trafficking investigation. Well, quite frankly, that's our mission, is to follow the money. Our core mission is to serve the American public by investigating potential crimes of the Internal Revenue Code and related financial crimes. Those include money laundering and Bank Secrecy Act violations. In this particular instance, our special agents did great work and were able to follow the money that was used by Bisheem Jones to purchase firearms and further his gun trafficking operation. Our agents were able to track the money that was transmitted from here in Beckley to Philadelphia to further the conspiracy with the other conspirators. Today's sentence, again, highlights the great work our agents can do and will continue to do, and we'll support the U.S. Attorney's Office work with our law enforcement partners to combat any financial crimes that could impact our communities in a negative way. Thank you.
Thank you, Agent. Any questions of me or anyone else? We had one straw purchaser we did not get, who was a lower level conspirator. Other than that, we got them, everybody we could find. 35. I think 35 were used in crimes, 50 recovered at crime scenes. Is that correct? Okay.
So if any more less than the recovered, could there be other?
Possibly. I don't know if we're necessarily looking for those right now. I think we recovered a bunch, and I think we did a bunch of work as far as going back and seeing who they were using to purchase the guns and tracking those guns down. Very pleased. I think there was 19 convicted total. There was 20 charged. One we were not successful on, but 19 convicted. Started probably July of 21. Does that sound about right?
It's approximately a year.
Yeah. So, and then it's was heavily investigated. Like I said, I've been working on it for quite some time. I think it was indicted probably, I can't remember, early January last year. About that approximate time period. Yes. Mr. Lowe can attest to that.
Were all of these new guns that were purchased?
Yes, they were purchased from gun shops here locally in the Raleigh County area. Not that, no. These were going into gun shops, buying new guns. And basically what they were doing, they were taking people who, a lot of addicts, and they were offering $50, $100, go in there and buy this gun and come back and give it to me. So that was their scheme. Any other questions? Thank you much, guys.